Welcome back to Studio 5. You know, we want to be the kind of parents who help our kids and be the best they can be, but sometimes when we're talking to them, those conversations go wrong.
They go way wrong, right? You're in the middle of it and you feel the train just leaving the station with no way to bring it back. Studio 5 relationship coach Dr. Matt Townsend has found it's because we're making some mistakes when we chat with our kids. We're so well-meaning, right? We want to be that parent Darren just described. So. Where do we go wrong?
Well, A, you had children. B, you had your parents.
Conversation right there.
So with your parents and your children, you have no prayer. When you think about it, where do we learn to do this? Parent school? No. Yeah. So we either learn it from our parents that didn't quite know how to do it, really, or we just tend to react to our children. So we can't do that. We've got to take charge, and we've got to start thinking that some things aren't working. If they don't work, let's quit doing them. You know what I mean? What do we call that? That has a name. It's called learning. You're all like, I have no idea. It's called learning. So we've got to learn as we do this. Right now, we're going to go through these scenarios. Well, 4 points that I want to make, but I want you guys to tell me if you've been there, if you've done this. Okay. Now, Darren, I know, has done this first one.
Yeah. I mean, I make every mistake in the book in talking to my kids. I'll admit right there.
But you're just a good father. So the first key is, or the first problem is, we tend to feel guilty saying no. Why?
I'm so there because I want to be positive. I want to be, positive, proactive. I don't want to say no.
Daddy,
no is a negative word.
Can I drink gasoline? Well, sure, pumpkin. No, you got to say no, right?
Well, you want to be the fun parent, right?
Yes.
You said that before, I think. But you do. You want to be the fun parent.
The fun parent will kill people.
Oh.
Just write that down in your journal.
I feel a little nervous.
No, but so when you think about this, we have a hard time saying no. They did a study at Parenting Magazine. 76% of parents believe their children are spoiled, and 76% of the parents have a hard time saying no to those spoiled children.
Well, enter the problem.
So I believe we don't know how to say no because we probably feel guilty, maybe because we don't say yes when we should.
Elaborate.
We are saying no all the time, but we should be saying yes sometimes. Like when you're on Facebook, it's the end of the night, you're trying to rap with all your peeps on the Facebook, diggity, and I don't know what that meant, but when you're out there trying to be Facebooking and your kid comes up and wants help with his report, what do you think? What do you say?
I'm rapping with my peeps on the diggity here,
No, now you'll say no.
Yeah, it's easy to say.
And then, so I think it's that no where we maybe should be saying yes that causes guilt on all of the other no's.
Oh.
Because we're not, or how about this one? Hey, Mom, I want to make a cake with you. You're making a cake. You got to get your cake done so you can get out to your visit. And then all of a sudden, you don't have time to do the cake with your kid. You'll feel guilty. So one of the rules is you got to say no. And the best way to be able to say no is practice it. But you also have to have said yes when you should have said yes. To have a guilt-free no, you have to be saying yes in your kids' lives as well.
When you're in the middle of these conversations with your kids, do you find parents sometimes get maybe a little too emotional or they come across a little too strongly?
I hate that. And they lose their cool. One of the worst problems I see coaching couples is none of the couples know how to keep their cool. We don't know how to keep our cool during a conflict. And by not keeping our cool, I think we learned it as a child. So when we go all child and our parents go all parent on us, and it starts to create this fight or flight thing, if we don't know how to call a timeout on ourselves, so if I'm talking to my kids, this is one I always need to do. This is one, actually every one of these I have problems with, because I always say no to my kids and I don't feel any guilt. I also have this trouble where I lose my cool really quickly. And if I lose my cool, what am I teaching them?
Probably teaching it's okay to lose your cool. It's okay to get emotional out of control.
And then we're wondering why they throw tantrums and why they're manipulative and why they do all these manipulative, issues.
So you say you've got to call a timeout on ourselves. How do we do that?
I would actually just say, you know what? Dad's losing it right now. Dad needs 5 minutes. I'm going to give myself a timeout, and when I come back, you better not be here. I say it like that, and it scares them, and then it usually works. No, but if I literally would want to say, hey, you know what? Dad's losing his cool, so I need a break. I need to get away because it's not right for Dad to yell.
You're stepping away from the situation.
And if I can do that while I'm starting to get upset and yell, that's a powerful thing.
You know, it's what we do with our toddlers when we're throwing a tantrum.
Exactly right.
I'm not comparing you to a 2-year-old, but
I think you just did.
We're told to take them away from the situation.
Exactly right. Now, what if we could actually model that and show that in the moment I can feel it, swelling and welling up inside of me, and I'm freaking out, and I pull it back. You know what? Dad needs a break. Dad's going to take 5 minutes, but then we're going to come back and we're going to figure out how to do this. But Dad's lost his cool, which we'll get to one of our other things, and then we need to apologize. Another thing we need to do is we do this all the time as parents. We always talk about what we don't want instead of about what we want. We always focus on what we don't want to have happen. I do not want to come up there and see a messy room. Now, when you tell your child what you don't want, you end up building the entire case for what you don't want. Honey, I don't want you to keep failing your class. I don't want you to feel bad about yourself, never go to college and never have a life. I don't want that. What should we be telling our kids?
What we want.
What we want. Son, I want you to feel good about yourself. I want you to be able to feel like you did 2 weeks ago. Do you remember how good you felt when you got the good grades and you did your homework and you did everything? I want you to feel like that.
It seems so obvious when you isolate it like
Isn't that
but
weird?
in the heat of the moment, I mean, that I don't want to come out really easily.
Then all of a sudden we build this huge case of everything we don't want. Every one of us know what our parents don't want to have happen to us.
Yeah.
I do not want you to drive crazy, kill 2 people, and be in prison tonight, son. Okay, Mom, what do you want? I want you to drive safely. Remember, driving your friends is the biggest honor you can have, and I'm letting you do it, but be careful. That's so much easier for them to hear than don't you dare speed, and you better put your seatbelts on, because you know what? I'll know. Thanks, Mom. So tell me what you do want from me. It's so much easier for me to do something that's positive than to not do the negative.
Yeah.
I want you to return home safely. I want you to be good at the end of the day. I want all those things, the positive stuff.
I want the room clean, and I want it clean by noon so I can relax, and then we can go play ball. Just state it outright what you want instead of hoping they'll beat around the bush and get it.
As you've gone through some of these scenarios, I know I've been there, and I've recounted, I can tell you experiences of all those things where I've lost my cool or I've been negative. What happens if you find yourself in the wrong and you get to that point?
If it ever happens, which I highly doubt it will, Darren.
Yeah.
But if
After
it
this
happens that you're wrong,
it'll never happen again.
We have to apologize. Research shows one of the healthiest things to learn is how to recover from a blow up or a problem. So not apologizing or not being able to recover after an argument is one of the biggest problems. Do you have a way to recover with your children? After we've blown up, after we've freaked out, after we've made a mess, do you have a way to get back to them quickly and recover? So my son and I were wrestling this weekend, and he was just being obnoxious to the other kids. So I jumped on him, and then I tucked him really tightly in a blanket. And he got a little claustrophobic, and he freaked out, quite honestly. And then everyone was mad at me because I almost suffocated my child. But he's 12, and he's annoying to some of the kids. And so it turned into a fight. So how do we recover? So that means an apology. That means me going over by him and nuzzling him and trying to get him to laugh, and then having fun, and then saying, I'm sorry, Dad blew it. I shouldn't have tied you down that tightly. I'm sorry, Dad stopped your breathing.
Are these apologies that happen often at your home?
About every day.
Yeah, okay.
Twice a day. So, but if we can apologize, then we have
It's
a
a good
segue
point.
in.
Parents don't want to let down face oftentimes.
Yeah.
They want to maintain, control and authority.
That's right.
But you're saying you can gain just as much respect.
You'll gain more respect because you're also teaching your kids to do all these things. You're teaching them that no's matter. You're teaching them how to not freak out. You're teaching them how to apologize and what exactly you want. It's so simple.
Yeah, when you put it that way.
It's just that simple. It's not. It's hard.
Yeah, a lot of things are simple when you put it in the way you do. And you got a class coming up in our neck of the woods, up in Davis County.
We're doing this every other week now. So on Thursday, December 13th, every other week we'll be up at the Davis Applied Technology Center in Kaysville. Smart Relationships is the class. If you have a relationship, you don't have to come with your partner. You can come single. Anybody can come to it. We teach skills, tools, ideas. Go to smartrelationshipsnow.com.
Okay. Does this also work relationships, parents to kids as well?
This is any relationship problem that you've got. So we teach communication, conflict resolution. It's really, it's awesome.
That's what you do. You do it well.
Thanks,
Matt.
you guys.
Thanks.